Sathya Sai Speaks, Volume 10, Chapter 34. Questions Answered. Part 1 of 3. The fulfillment of man's life on earth consists in filling oneself with love of God and transmuting that love into acts of service of man who is the embodiment of God. If man has no love in him, and if he does not share it with all beings, he is but a burden to the earth. Make your emotions pure, make your mind strong to resist the force of ignorance and the wiles of the senses. Then you are assured of peace and joy. You maintain health by physical exercise. So too, you must maintain mental health, for the mind can lead you into bondage or liberation by means of certain exercises. By means of pure food, the mind can be rendered subtle and sharp. It can then cut through obstacles and temptations. Rend the veil of misconception. You must also try to be constantly in a good environment, a good company, a spiritual organization. In the spiritual organization, members do not discuss about what can be seen or heard or touched and tasted. They are interested in the investigation of the unseen, the basic truth beyond the senses, outer and inner, the process by which the mind helps or hinders the individual's journey to God. The mind has to be subordinated to buddhi. The mind is called karana, an instrument. The senses are instruments which are used to contact nature and gather information about objects. Mind is the overall instrument which controls and directs the senses. It is called the antakarana, the inner instrument. Higher than the mind is the buddhi, intellect, which analyzes and categorizes the impressions as gathered by the mind through the senses. The buddhi is subordinate to chitta, consciousness as such, and the ego or the I sense, which is fundamental for the individual. The mind has to be subordinate to buddhi, but usually it serves the senses, which are but its servants. That is how the mind leads man into bondage. A number of people have handed over questions to me regarding the nature of the mind. So though I have often explained this in my discourses, I shall speak about it again. You are all now in Prashanti Nilayam, gathered in this hall, but if your mind is wandering in Madras or Calcutta, you will not be seeing the man sitting in the line before you or hear me speak, though I am speaking so loud. Though your eyes and ears are present here, effective and sound, if your mind is not controlling them and directing them, the senses are powerless. They cannot transmit any information to the antakarana. The operations of hearing, smelling, seeing, tasting, and getting the feel of touch cannot be done effectively or meaningfully if the mind is engaged otherwise. The body is as a torch. The eyes are its bulbs. Intellect is the switch, but the essential cell is the mind. You may have fresh bulbs, the switch may be on, the torch may be brand new, but if the cell is not in position, the torch will not emit light. But beyond the mind and beyond reason and consciousness, and the I sense is the Atma, the reality, the cosmic I or God. Rational knowledge is illusory knowledge. Rational knowledge, or knowledge accumulated by the exercise of the senses and stored and sifted by reason, is but illusory knowledge. It is worldly material knowledge, subject to correction or modification. The knowledge about the five elements, earth, water, fire, wind, and space, derived through the five senses, which are so framed that each can sense the special attribute of each element: earth, smell; water, taste; fire, form; wind, touch; and space, sound. This is illusory. How can you be content living in this illusory world, gathering and relying on this illusory knowledge? Realize the person beyond all illusion, who is the creator of this illusion, who is revealed in and through this illusion. Worldly knowledge is of the temporary, the particular, the finite, the individual. How can it reveal the eternal, the universal, the infinite, the absolute? The Veda has the answer. It asks us to analyze our dream experience. Dreams are unreal. They are illusory. But yet, for as long as we are dreaming, the experience is real and valid. Often in the dreams, as a result of the illusory experience itself, awareness of such extreme is created through fear or horror, or pain or excitement, that the person dreaming wakes and the dream is destroyed. What has caused the awakening? The dream itself helped in the destruction of the dream. So too in this wakeful dream, in the illusory world where every wakeful experience is deemed true and valid, some experience, or the roar of the Vedas in the Mahavakyas, divine axioms which ring through the sacred texts, wakes man into the higher awareness. The universe is only relatively real. Some questions handed over to me relate to creation and how it came into being. Well, if you can understand how your dream comes into being, you can know how this creation came into being. Sleep causes dreams. The Maya, the deluding power of the divine, has caused this creation. This universe is as unreal as the dream. It is only relatively real. It is not absolutely real. The Vedic sages, out of the illumination of their purified intellects, declared in bliss for all mankind to know. Tat Tvam Asi, that thou art. Prajnanam Brahma, wisdom is that. I am Atma Brahman, this I is that. Aham Brahmasi, I am that. I am everything. I am the Supreme. I am the One without a second. When these depth-stirring declarations reverberate in the heart, men awaken to the vision of truth. The realization that you are the Atman and that there is nothing except the Atman anywhere at any time. This is self-realization. It is the Atma Sakshatkara, the realization of the Atma by the Atma, of yourself by yourself as the self. This is also called Bhuma, the vast limitless, the changeless. the unaffected by time and space. The bhumi, this earth, is limited. It has a past and a future different from the present, so it can never reveal the truth. Bhuma alone can reveal it. So live in the bhuma, breathe the bhuma, think, plan, and act in the limitless, the changeless that is in you. You desire God not for God's sake. You are the very center of your desires and activities. You crave happiness for your own sake. Your truth is in your own self. Even when you try to make others happy, it is your own happiness that you are after. You love a Terralin shirt, not for the sake of the shirt, but for your own sake. You desire a sweet dish, not for the sake of the dish, certainly. The mother fondles the child for her own satisfaction. You desire God, not for God's sake, but for your own sake. And what is this you which desires, which serves, which tries, which yearns, and which is satisfied? Now you ignore this I, and you affirm that you are the body with its equipment, its implements, its instruments. This ignorance, this misconception, has originated from the very principle which endows you with wisdom and light. The sun produces light as well as the cloud that hides it from view. The eye that sees produces the cataract which clouds and often closes that vision. From the same Atmic principle which illumines and vitalizes is born the Maya, illusion, that hides and confuses. The fire from the embers creates ashes which cover up the embers. But we can blow off the ashes and reveal the cinders. The cataract can be removed. Clouds are wafted away by winds. So too, sadhana can remove the veil of illusion which hides the inner eye from consciousness, the Atma from our awareness. As regards sadhana, I have here a number of questions. They ask, we are serving others, relieving their pain or misery. We are feeding the hungry, poor. We are engaged in many good acts. Are these not sadhana? But this is not service to others. It is service to yourself. A person may invite all of you office bearers for a dinner. He may declare afterwards, I gave a dinner to all the delegates. He too sat and ate with all the delegates, and so he served himself too. When he served the others, did he not? He derived joy as a result of the dinner he arranged, and so it was a piece of service rendered to him ultimately. End of part 1 of 3, Prashanti Nilayam, All India Conference, November 22nd, 1970.